On to MMA for a moment. Jon Jones this week, unfortunately, in a situation with the police over there in Albuquerque, I believe, and pulled out of a car with a weapon, intoxicated, and asked to do the old one step in front of the other, and failed that. And now he's got a whole nother case on his hand that he's got to have to worry about. How does that affect someone like, well, I mean, I know how it affects me, but how do you feel about that whole situation where you see someone? I really enjoy watching Jon Jones fight. He's obviously an amazing fighter, arguably one of the best fighters in history. But to see him continually just do these things where you think, are you fucking serious, mate? Like, how does he not have a driver? How doesn't he have someone looking after him? Like, there should be an employee there that he just says, mate, take me out, make sure everything's okay. And yet here he is getting pulled over, getting breathalyzed and blown over.
Mate, it almost like, again, like it's obviously, I'm sure there's more to it, all that carry on, but almost as a former professional athlete, it makes me kind of dislike him in the sense that, like, I have a bitterness towards him. Like, the first time it was disappointment. The second time it was, okay, all right, he's young. And then the third time it's like, mate, pull your fucking head in. And now it's to the point where it's like, mate, how dare you disrespect the sport like that? How dare you disrespect every fan you've ever had? How dare you disrespect all the young men coming up in the sport that looked up to you? It gets to the point where, I understand some athletes try to say, I don't owe anyone anything, but I'm sorry. Like, yeah, maybe for the first 2 times you can kind of say that, like, yeah, because you're a human being. So it kind of gives you that leeway of like, yeah, you fuck up. But when you get to the point where it's like the 6th fuck up or however many it is, it's like, no, actually you do owe the fucking fans something because they took you back. They paid for your fucking main events. They paid for your merchandise. They kept supporting you through all that bullshit. So you actually do owe the fans, cunt, and you're still doing what you're doing. It just shows a sign of who he is as a person. He doesn't have the same, he is not what, the problem with Jon Jones is that he's the greatest mixed martial artist that isn't what mixed martial arts is about. Mixed martial arts is about self-discipline, self-control. It's about a way of life. It's not about trying to hurt someone else. It's actually about all of those things, in my opinion. So that's why Georges St. Pierre is the greatest of all time, because he embraced all of mixed martial arts, from the defeating someone to outside the ring, about being an example, about a discipline in life that can guide you in a way that, because that's the underrated thing about mixed martial arts. It gives strength to a lot of young men and women that may not have had strength. And so that's what pisses me off about Jon Jones, is that he disrespects the sport. He disrespects his fans unbelievably. Like, they spend their hard-earned cash. They go to work every week. They got no fucking money as it is. They're spending $60 on a pay-per-view to watch him fight. And yet he does that to them. So yeah, mate, I got no time for it. Like, there was a time probably like 2 fuck-ups ago where I was like, look, maybe you could still consider him the GOAT. I think that this completely rules him out. Like, he is not even in the conversation anymore.
With the whole picogram situation with the steroids and all that type of stuff, I think you can let that go. That was whatever. But this is just like, it's almost like, your mate who continually gets arrested or does DUIs or, breaks up with his missus and then they blew and they get back together.
Oh,
you just go, are you fucking, like, do you have the same brain as me? I often look at people and go, what type of brain do you have? Because I think about it with some of the blokes I used to play footy with, and I go, I know what I think about when I'm at home by myself, like, things that run through my head. I think about weird things like the universe and shit. Like, but what do you think about? Like, what happens in your mind? Like, are you just like thinking about brick walls and shit like that? Like, I don't understand what would go through someone's head. And what decision, like, obviously he's got a problem with alcohol. Obviously he's got a problem with drugs. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a problem with mood disorders or anxiety and things like that. Like, I think that as someone who has anxiety problems, I think a lot of people try and fix that with alcohol because it is an anti-anxiolytic. And nothing wrong with alcohol. We all enjoy beers and Bloke In A Bar beer, bloke beer. Shout out. Not that I have any. It's all fucking sold out. I was actually going to drink a beer.
We'll get you some. Don't worry.
I was going to drink a beer while we had this, and I thought, oh, fucking better not. That's against brand. But
no, you can fucking drink whatever beer you want. You know what? You know what's weird? It's like for like a lot of brands get caught up in the business side of things. Sorry to fucking ruin your train of thought, but I'm Aussie too. And so 4X VB in that's part of my culture. So fucking, if you want a 4X and VB, fucking oath. Like I want a fucking 4X and VB. Like we love Australia and that's part of Australia. So fuck you if you don't like that. You know what I mean? That's the way I feel anyway.
Man, I stopped a lot of drinking and I stopped a lot of that when I stopped playing footy and I had a lot of good years of, carrying on like a fucking pork chop and all that type of stuff. And it's made me enjoy, the piss more now that I do it less. But it came to the point where I had to sort of drag it back so I could go and do shows and all that shit. But I
so I could live like a human being.
So I could actually wake up to myself and grow up. But those years you have from like when you're 17, 18 onwards to like 20, if you're 30 and you're still bendering every weekend, like, as long as you got your life sorted out, good on you. But
you're a better man than me, that's for sure. I can't do it.
Yeah.
I used to be able to do it. I pride myself on a good old fashioned bender.
I can't. I'm the biggest pussy. I can't. I can. Once it gets like 4:00, I'm like, right, going home. Goodbye.
And that's
see you later.
That's the arvo for me. 4:00 in the arvo for me. I'm done.
But I remember when I was, 18 and getting introduced to that sort of, because I went from playing in like a feeder club in Newcastle to the local pub comp. And I started playing there at Dudley. And I remember the first Mad Monday we had. And one of the boys turned up with fucking like 100 bag of pingers. And I've never seen drugs before. And this dude's got like a bag that you'd see in a drug bust on one of the airport shows. Yeah, you'd see it in like, it's almost like Scarface shit. And I'm like, he's got 100 pills there. Are you fucking serious? And the boy, after a day, they're all gone. Like, you know what I mean? But
just eating them.
I'm taking them like vitamins. But that is something that a lot of people, just they get exposed to. And I think it's the same with people like Jon Jones. Who is he around? Like, is he still around? Like I saw this, and I don't want to speak out of turn, but I will.
I don't want to, but I'll do it.
When Cade Snowden came from the Sharks and he was playing for New South Wales and for Australia at the time, he got signed by the Knights, and it was a big deal. And I was working at a local pub that he drank at when he was younger, and he lived just nearby. And he was up there all the time on the piss. And I don't know if there's other things going on in his life, but dead set coming home to where all his dickhead mates were was the worst thing that ever happened to him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same for Jones. He's in Albuquerque around all his friends. Sometimes when you take away from all your mates, you actually become a better person. And it sucks socially, but you're able to make yourself, you just get out of that rhythm. I think that's, out of your comfort zone, perhaps.
Absolutely. And like, it's just so easy to, if you don't have your mates around, you don't have like going and drinking. I mean, if you're drinking because you're depressed, and obviously you'll drink by yourself, but like drinking by yourself isn't the most enjoyable thing. Like having a few is good, but yeah, if your mates are around, it's an easy distraction. Like your mate gives you a text, "Oh mate, come on, like come out." And you're like, all right. And before you know it, you're fucking rocking up with 100 pingers on a Mad Monday.
all of a sudden you've signed up in March, and then 6 months later you're still playing. But it's like that. I mean, you get your mates pulling your arm, twisting your arm sort of thing, and you get out and get amongst it. But I don't know.